Hi everyone, I'm Peter and I'm the creator of this channel. The first video that I did is from 4 months ago, just at the start of summer, and I showed you the initial work that was done on the property to put in the road, which is behind me over there, or behind the camera over that way. The pad that's going to be for the garage that I put up, or the building that I put up, that's going to be roughly 32 by 48, not roughly, 32 by 48. And since the time that that's happened, I've taken a lot of footage of the various activities I've been involved in. I just haven't gotten around to creating the site. But I did that last week and put up that first video, which was essentially from 4 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago. And what I'm going to do now is do a bit of a fast forward jump and start to show you where I am now on my property. What I've managed to accomplish in these last 4 to 5 months, probably averaging anywhere from 2 to 3 days out here on the property. I didn't get out here much in August due to family commitments and holidays, activities with my kids, and I've been out here a little bit more in September, October, and we're now in mid-November, as you can see from the snow. And I just think that it's a little bit better for me to start to give you some videos of what's going on currently at my site and on my property, but I'm also going to backfill and continue to create and upload the videos from the summer months, the ones that I have. And so just wanted to let everybody know that I'm going to start kind of this dual track on the site. That is these current videos, but then also covering those last 4 to 5 months, 3 to 4 months, and the gap that exists there. And what's the gap going to show you? It's going to show you that I put up this shed. I decided in late August to start putting up the shed because in terms of this pad that you see there under the snow, it became a situation where I just wasn't going to get to the concrete, putting the piers and putting the pad in place before the frost came. And so I needed to create a shed from which I could work with and out of during the winter months. And not just work out of, I've got some other things I want to do on this property in terms of all that back woodland acreage in the photo there that goes back. You know, it's a total of 10 plus acres. You know, I've got another 900 feet back that way, right? And so there's a lot to do. There's a lot of things to go and explore and a lot of activities to become involved in. So in the last 2 months, I've built and constructed the shed. So I have a number of videos that I want to show you in terms of, you know, that log pile there used to have a total of 75 logs in it. Now I think I'm down to 40. The 30-odd logs that I've cut up have been used to build this shed. And really the shed is turning out to be a great practice run for the larger building that I plan to put up next summer. And it's a practice run because it's a pole barn. It's a small pole barn construction technique, where I use pole barn construction techniques for the shed. And I've got 4x4 posts, 4 foot on center. And in the larger construction, it's going to be 6x6 posts, 8 foot on center. But the techniques that I've used and learned how to use in the construction of the shed are obviously going to help me with the construction of the larger building. And one other thing I should let you guys know at this time, big disclaimer, is that I am not a trained carpenter. I don't have any other kind of classification in terms of any other trade. I'll tell you about this more in future videos. I am a retired civil servant here in Canada. I used to be a civil servant in what used to be called Canada's International Development Agency. If you're American, the equivalent would be US Aid. If you're British, the equivalent would be the Department for International Development. About 5 years ago, CEDA, as it's known or was known, was merged into our foreign ministry, which then became called Global Affairs Canada under the new government. But I retired as a member of the foreign ministry. I'm still very young. I'm involved in other activities and contract work in the area of technical assistance, development assistance, which I can tell others about. But my point here is that I have no classification as a builder, construction in any way, etc. I come by all of this in terms of my own interests, my hobbies. I've built a few things over the years. I've been involved in carpentry since I was in high school. And so I come by it naturally, and I'm very interested in doing these kinds of things. Hence, the interest in trying to put up these kinds of structures. But more importantly, you know, my idea is to mill as much of the wood as possible for this building that I'm putting up. Some other quick things I can tell you about before I move on with today's activities. Under the blue tarp, and this is what I used to clear the snow the other day, is my Ford 9N tractor. So 9N standing for 1939. It's essentially an antique. It was rebuilt by a guy in Kempville. I think I bought it off a guy in Kempville about a decade ago. So it's a refurbished antique. It's maxes out, I think, at about 23 horsepower. And as you can see, I've got a 5-foot blade attached to the back of it. I have no chains on the wheels yet. The tires, sorry. I've got some studs I've purchased that are coming in. The actual tractor managed okay in the snow the other day. It was very wet, very sticky snow. So I think that in future, when I've got the studs installed and the snow is not as heavy, snow clearing won't be as much of a struggle as it was. But again, you know, it's what I can afford. It's what I have. Here's one of the areas that I cleared. And at the end of the day, it allows me to get in my laneway that I built with my vehicle so that I can come in and get involved in my activities here on the property. So here's a side angle view of this shed. Very simple construction. Again, it's pole barn, and this side's 10 feet high. This side's 8 feet high, and in some future videos that I will put on the site in the coming weeks, in terms of activities over the last 2 to 3 months, you're going to see how I put this thing together. What else for today? Today I'm just essentially going to try to rough in my wood stove. And I can give you a better description of what I've done inside the shed. I've taken the 6 feet in the back of the shed and created an insulated space. Again, if anybody knows anything about Eastern Ontario, you're aware that I'm going to be experiencing weather from 0 centigrade, 32 Fahrenheit, all the way down to, you know, minus 20, minus 30 Celsius, which I think would probably get into the minus 10 or 0 Fahrenheit range, so very cold, and would need a warm place to stay, whether I'm out hiking in the back acres or trying to cut some of this wood over here, which I plan to do during the winter months for the build next summer. So there's an update for you in terms of what I plan to do. I'm going to start to upload current videos, because I do think that people will want to see what's actually going on as opposed to what happened anywhere from 2 to 4 months ago as I was working out here in the heat. So you're going to start to see two kind of video streams going at the same time. The historical, my historical, not being very far in the past, and then the current. And this one being the first one in the current series that I'm going to get underway. I might go back a few days in terms of just before the snowfall, the clearing, these kinds of things. So there you go. That's the update from today in late November in Eastern Ontario.